how this is going to work out. We're actually using the YouTube software, so I know we don't have much lighting. We're in low lighting conditions, so see how this works. All right. Whew, I guess we could do an encore. We could do the song that was removed from the show due to technical difficulties. I mean, it's a really great song. It's a Hank Williams Jr. song, but unfortunately, I had to remove it. How are we doing? Yeah, we're trying to make sure we're live at the moment. So if you're not live, I guess close it out and reopen it. Yeah. So we're using live streaming via YouTube Studio. So we're seeing if this is going to actually broadcast. Shows live. We're a minute and 13 into it. You got the option to edit in stream. We got chat. All right. I've only used the YouTube Studio live streaming software like once before. Okay. You're in now. Well, that's good. How's audio? We're going to have interruption if I play a lot of guitar, but. All right. I know it's kind of dark. But anyway, so this is after the holiday show, the live show that was broadcast tonight. And we kind of changed up the set list. So I was trying something different. So kind of going back to my generation of rock music. So we kicked it off with a Def Leppard song tonight, believe it or not. Hysteria. They played that on the radio relentlessly in the 80s, 1987 specifically. It was a Def Leppard album. I believe it was their third album, produced by Mutt Lange. It was a very long album. Each song was, 5-6 minutes. Love Bites, Hysteria, Pour Some Sugar on Me. But what drew me to trying that song was it was either Crossroads or something of that nature where basically about 12 to 14 years ago, Taylor Swift performed Hysteria with Def Leppard. Because, I can't hit those notes, so I did it an octave down, and Taylor Swift actually sang a piece of the song. Joe Elliott would sing the high parts, and the part that she sang, I said I could come in on that part. It's basically an octave below what Elliott was doing, So based on that, I said, I think I can countrify this song, but still keep it like, soft rock. But one of the hardest parts for me, because I don't do a lot of lead, but I'm basically a frustrated lead picker, but glorified rhythm player. But I never learned scale properly, but I do know the chicken picking version of the scale, the Texas chicken picking version. So I can fight my way through it. And basically I'm playing by ear. So if I hear the song enough and it's ingrained in my memory, I will find the lead lick. So I wanted to at least get the kickoff on Hysteria. So, and it's easier than you think once you start doing it. But it's a very produced album, and but I really like the guitar in it because it's not overdone, it's not over the top, it's not like screaming metal, but there was something about that song that I thought I might be able to pull that off. So we're basically doing it in D, and I thought if I could just get the intro, I don't have to like really guitar riff my way through it because there's a lot of words to that song, the lyrics. It's a 5-minute song, over 5 minutes. And if I could just get that run down enough for the kickoff with the Fender Telecaster, because the Telecaster is a glorious instrument. I, there's no other guitar that I'm playing that can give me the satisfaction of that 72 Blonde Telecaster. And Jimmy Massey may be right. It may be a 71. I don't know exactly. I looked up the serial number and it gave me a range loosely from 72 to 73, but it was probably made in 71 and 72. But it was my dad's guitar. It's basically our one and only family heirloom. And he made it very clear at one point in time that was my guitar. In his later years, once he retired, he pretty much stuck with his Ovation guitar. It was an electric acoustic round back Ovation. And I may break that out at some point. I did manage to get my hands on it, and I've cleaned it up. I found a place that's going to go ahead and I'm going to have all the strings replaced on a lot of my guitars. Probably spend a small fortune doing it. I know how to change the strings. I just prefer not to do it if I can get someone to do it. But no, it's mainly just getting that first opening lick. And then from there, just singing an octave down. And it's a song that's pretty much ingrained in my mind because in the 80s, I've probably heard it 10,000 times on 97.1 The Eagle. And folks of a certain age will definitely remember that from the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Kid Craddock. He was in the afternoons. But yeah, so you really couldn't escape it. Even if you were a fan of country music, everybody knew about Def Leppard. So that's the reason behind, my desire to try something different and kick it off with Hysteria. So, and then, when you try something different like Def Leppard, you better circle back and do what you do, what people expect you to play, which is, some outlaw music. So we went right into Are You Sure Hank Done 'Em This Way? That's basically the national anthem of outlaw country. Are you sure Hank done 'em this way? That song really needs no introduction, but Waylon did talk about the Hank Williams syndrome. And the Hank Williams syndrome is go out in a blaze of glory, go out performing music, but consumption, that's basically how Hank Williams died. He, consumed himself to death. And there's other songs. I mean, it's in the country music lore. I don't want to die in the back of Hank Williams' Cadillac. Midnight in Montgomery. There are a number of songs that talk about the lore of Hank Williams. And anyone worth their salt in country music, knows the story of Hank Williams. He succumbed to consumption at age 29, and that's impossible to believe. At 29, he's just a kid, he's just a baby. Imagine if Hank Williams had lived, say as long as a Willie Nelson. Imagine Hank Williams at age 90, the amount of content, the amount of music he would have produced. I mean, his life was tragically cut short due to consumption. I mean, it's a real thing, alcoholism and addiction. But yeah, that's the tragedy of it all. And Waylon had a song about the Hank Williams syndrome is dead. He was able to get beyond that because Waylon had a substance abuse problem for many years. And he started wearing white instead of all black. The Man in Black even had a song where he said, if I could, I would wear a rainbow every day, but I wear black for the downtrodden, the beaten down, the man that's wrongly imprisoned. So from this point forward, I should be known as the Man in Black. But anyway, Are You Sure Hank Done 'Em This Way? Like I say, it's a 2-chord song. It's it's a fairly easy song to play, but it's got such a edge and angst to it that I like to try to do it justice and just put everything I've got into it. And it's a song that I've always loved by Waylon Jennings. And he did a live concert of that song in London, England, that it lit my fire. When I heard Waylon do A Cowboy in London, that was the concert that really got me back into music. I was a true believer in the Are You Sure Ain't Done This Way live in London. It was something beyond country music. It was, you could call it rock and roll, but the man was, you could tell he had put in his dues. He paid his dues. He put in his time. 7 nights a week at Mr. Lucky's, all those live performances. He was no stranger to the stage and live performances. So if you have a chance, look it up on YouTube. A Cowboy in London, Waylon Jennings live. It was right before he got clean, but you could tell he was struggling. He was sweating, but he was jamming, and he was personified. It's just 2 chords. They say 3 chords in the truth. By God, he did it in 2 chords. Yeah, that makes me want to go back and watch that live performance again. But that was Are You Sure Ain't Done This Way? And kind of the backstory why I always circle back to that one. Anytime I want to find the center, my true center. Are you sure Ain't Done This Way? Did he do it this way? Really? Well, there's always one more way of doing things, and that's your way. And don't ever let anyone tell you you can't do it your way. At least one time. That's what Waylon said. He wasn't wrong. The next one I did tonight, Sweet Home Alabama. So I was trying to mix in a little more rock, Southern rock, redneck rock, whatever you want to call it. But I mean, you can't go wrong with Leonard Skinner, really, truly. I mean, they're Southern rock epitomized, There's certain aspects of the South that have been stigmatized, but it's still there. And, it's not going away. But the purest form of, I guess of a culture is represented in the music, and the music cannot be snuffed out, because as long as there's people still alive that know and remember the songs, then those songs will resonate with the fans of really good music. And you got to include in Leonard Skinner. If they're not already in the Library of Congress, then, they should be, or they will be. So Sweet Home Alabama, it's, if you don't know any other Leonard Skinner song, the running joke is there's always one guy in the back. And, of course, what song he's asking for by Leonard Skinner. You always hear, Freebird! So, Freebird. But if you don't feel like doing a 7-minute song, then Sweet Home Alabama will suffice. Trust me. He'll go away satisfied. That's all you're trying to do, is satisfy your fans, your customers, your listeners. Just satisfy them. But yeah, Sweet Home Alabama. You can't go wrong doing Sweet Home Alabama. The next one I did was Blowing in the Wind by Bob Dylan. So my dad was really I don't know if you would call him a closet Bob Dylan fan, but when he went to his meditation place, when he was going back to his songwriting, trying to find his true north, he went to Bob Dylan. And Bob Dylan, I've still got my dad's Bob Dylan albums. Those were his prized possessions. That was his private collection. He shared, his Waylon Jennings albums, his Waylon, his Willie Nelson, Waylon Jennings, John Denver. Those were fair game. I had privy to those. I could play them, but not Bob Dylan. I was not allowed into his Bob Dylan record collection. You would think I had found, the family jewels. But that's not something he shared or, imposed upon me. So I wasn't really, I knew about Bob Dylan and I would know that my dad was listening to it, but it wasn't broadcast throughout the house. But Blowing in the Wind was a song that I was very well aware of early on. My dad was listening to Joe Eli, and Bob Dylan. Early on. Um, I mean, my dad was one of the ones that got upset when Bob Dylan went elected. But the one thing my dad did impress upon me was the rawness of Bob Dylan, and he played a Bob Dylan album for me that it was so raw that as Bob Dylan's playing it and singing it, he's playing his acoustic, but you can hear the buttons from his long sleeve shirt, the pearl snaps, hitting the guitar. It's like it wasn't polished. And there's something about that was real, and it struck a chord with my dad. And it was so authentic that he was drawn to it, and he identified with it completely. So, yeah, when I'm getting back to the essence of what I am, what I do, my music, it's basically, legacy music. It's got to represent something from my dad as well. So I had to do a Bob Dylan song. Blowing in the Wind, I think, kind of hit the marks with the Bob Dylan category or the genre of music. But so that was Blowing in the Wind. And then I wasn't sure what I wanted to do after that. So a lot of times I kind of follow the guitar and then I'll find it. I kind of really don't like necessarily having a set list. I'll pick a couple to kind of guide me, but otherwise I'm following the guitar. So that's why you see when I kick off, I'm in E. I'm just following the guitar, trying to find the rhythm, not necessarily the chord, but the rhythm. The song's in D, so that's a long way to go from E, A, G, to F, F, D. And there we go. We're right back into Are You Ready for the Country? A Neil Young written song that Waylon Jennings performed, but he would kick off his shows with that song sometimes and basically sing, Are you ready? Are you ready for me? But yeah, I always love that song. And I probably even missed a few words because now that I'm talking about it, I remember a line that me and Glenn used a lot as we were hydroplaning through the Safeway parking lot, And I think I forgot the opening line in the show tonight, but it's basically, slipping down the slide, laying down the. I left out the key line. I'm sorry about that, Glenn, because we would sing it as that white Ford pickup was sliding sideways through the water puddle in the Safeway parking lot. We were basically going slipping down the slide, laying down. And then, Neil Young wrote it about there was some political element, left and then a right, it ain't a crime, So I avoid politics like to play because that's a no-win conversation. But you got to mention it because it's in the song. But I just follow the guitar, and Are You Ready for the Country is a song I haven't performed yet in the Waylon set. So this is kind of a trinity. This is the third of three sets. So if I was going to do a full show, you kind of have to go back and watch the first and second show, and this one capstones it. So this completes, in my mind, a full show if I was going to do the full show. My part at least, because I really believe in collaboration, and there's no way I would ever try to go out of the house and do this without some help. And that brings me to my other point. Going to the Wiley Opry and seeing Jimmy Massey and Joe DeGelia, it just brought back memories of, when we would have Jimmy come in and play with us at the club, Lone Star Cafe and Club. I never had to think about it. Once I called Jimmy and said, hey, can you come play with us this weekend? And we'd talk price, and Jimmy would show up. And I didn't have to worry about it. I didn't have to think about it. It was just so comfortable. It's like putting on a comfortable pair of boots, and it's just fun. It's fun. And that's what music should be. Fun. Just plug in and play, you know? And that's, for a while, that's what it was. So, yeah, are you ready for the country? Are you ready for me? Ready or not, here we go. So as long as it's fun, it's worth its weight in gold, because that's what it's all about. We're just a bunch of kids up there with instruments just grinning on the inside. You gotta, like the show, curb your enthusiasm, because if you show the world you're too happy, well, there's people out there that want to take that joy, but you can't take the joy of music away from. Well, so after Are You Ready for the Country? So we did have some technical difficulties. This is the first show that I actually had to go in and do some post editing. And I did have to cut a piece out of it because there was an incident with the cord. I stepped on the cord. I've got to do what Sturgill Simpson does and get the little spiral, the old phone cord that spiral, and it just kind of stretches instead of the straight line cord. And then I got to just don't step on the guitar cord, because it makes a hell of a ruckus when you're plugging it back in. And I didn't want to blow people's speakers out. So, but there's a thing Waylon does with the D. And he even had that guitar specially designed where it pop E string. So the magic of editing, I took out the part where I'm basically tuning that E string down. That just sounds glorious. Key of D. There's only one song you can do that. Staring at the door. Yeah, go back and listen to What You'll Do When I'm Gone. And he kind of laughs at the end of that song. And, it's fun. He's having a good time. But yeah, tune that E string down. Hank Williams Jr. mentions that when he's doing a tribute to Waylon. He always took that E string and tuned it down. And that's what he's talking about. So once I did that, I said, well, yeah, I got to do What You'll Do When I'm Gone. So, and then after the song, well, you got to tune it back up. And I don't have that little kit on the E string knob that clicks into place when I get it back where it needs to go. So it took me a little while to get it back in tune. So yeah, we cleaned that up. Nobody wants to see all the behind the scenes technical stuff. So the next song I did, it's a Tom T. Hall song. That's how I got to Memphis. Tom T. Hall was one hell of a songwriter. He wrote some really great songs. And I think Gerald Dodd had it out. And that was one of the main suggestions to me when I was playing with the Branders was, well, you need to do music we can dance to. I'm like, well, I don't like a lot of dance music. I mean, I'll play it, but I really enjoy playing the music that I play. But anyway, I found, this was the start of a song that I knew I really enjoyed, because I've loved Tom T. Hall since I was a kid, Sneaky Snake and all. But I connected with, That's How I Got to Memphis. And that was a good song, for people to dance to. And they danced. People danced so much at the club, for the Branders, that we really had to reposition our PA system. Bobby Germany, he played bass. He was my full-time bass player. And bless his heart, they danced right into the PA system and knocked it over. And it's like, the Leaning Tower of Pisa, as it really started to fall, I could see it in slow motion. And I thought, well, there goes my PA system. We're done for the night, I guess. But somehow Bobby positioned himself with his broad shoulders, and that PA system just stopped, and it landed and rested on his shoulder. I'll never forget the look on his face. He didn't say anything, but he looked at me like, okay, you're going to get this speaker off of me, right? I said, yes, absolutely. Hold, please. So he had to hold his position, holding that PA system up until I could get over there and set it back up on the tripod. Needless to say, after that, we moved the PA system to the back of the stage instead of the front of the stage. We just didn't expect that to be an issue. But yeah, that's how I got to Memphis. And I did kind of make a joke, like, here we go. Here's Joe DiGilio on steel guitar. In my dreams, that's what I would have. I mean, I would be in a situation. I would love to play with those guys again. That would just be so fantastic. And talk about fun music. So, Joe, if you're out there in your game, hey, anytime. I've got the PA system. I've got the brain. I've got the amp. I've got the chords. I've got the mics. Just bring your guitar. Hell, bring yourself. I've got extra acoustic. And the same invitation goes to you, Jimmy Massey. Come over anytime. I've got the setup. I finally got the rights to the back part of the house now. So, that way I don't disturb the rest of the house with my music. So anytime, guys. Come on over. We'll plug in and play. If you don't have anything going, you just want to pick through some songs, try some new material or some old material. I've got the PA system set up, ready to go. But the same goes for Bobby Germany. Anytime, man. It would be a pleasure. But yeah, that's kind of a fun little note I wanted to mention because I did call them out in the middle of the song, just pretending they were there playing lead. Then after that, I went right into Live Forever, Billy Joe Shaver. That song is very important to the family. We always, it's almost like Will the Circle Be Unbroken? But in our family's case, it's I'm Gonna Live Forever Now. It's a Billy Joe Shaver song, and it just rang like a bell with our family. My niece and I, Laurie, we'll do it together. Yeah, Christmas, it was the last song I sang for when everyone was together. It was the last time everyone was together. Unfortunately, Bob passed away. He succumbed to COVID when that was running rampant. But just in my heart, I felt like needed to be the last song of the night. I did that Christmas, and yeah, I love it when I can fit I'm Gonna Live Forever into my set list by Billy. On my mic stand, I did, each time I do a show, I try to improve. I did have an incident last time where, it's dark, I'm sitting there playing and I lose my pick and I don't know what I'm going to do. So I just use my finger and do Amanda. That's all with my index finger. So I finally, caved and see if we can bring the mic stand over. So I got the little Dunlop pick holder. I know it looks cheesy, everybody's got one, but it's kind of a necessity when you lose your pick. So I would highly recommend a pick holder. So that's just a little bit of housekeeping. Added a pick holder, got a brand new microphone cord because I would rather have that happen at home than, playing at a paid gig or a private party. You get out there and your microphone cord is dead. Your mic, you think it's your mic, but you have to isolate it, and that takes time, and people aren't patient when they're paying you to perform. So you want to have good gear. So I've upgraded my mic cord. I found a better microphone, so I replaced the Shure with a Samson. Who knew the Samson had a better, at least it's better to me. I can hear myself better. So I'm using a Samson microphone. So the next song I did, it was after an edit, but I did the theme to the Dukes of Hazzard. Every Friday night, everybody watched the Dukes of Hazzard. But let's see if I've got it here. Did I pull it out? Yeah. And I went ahead and I don't know why, but I pulled it from the video, the concert tonight. But it was basically my dad's set list. I don't know. There's something kind of cool about having my dad's set list. So I'm reading through it, on the original recording. I'm like, So that's going. So I'm reading the words. I'm all shook up. Crazy arms, blue suede shoes. Mamas don't let you baby. Rainy day woman, remember me. Last cowboy song. I'm so afraid. Matchbox. Good old boys. Good old boys. And I know why he put that song in there. He always did that for me. He did a lot of older country. Even some stuff I didn't even know, but that's just he had so many songs he could do by memory. He just needed a set list, and he would just read it and go. But so I did theme to the Dukes of Hazzard. I wanted to go ahead and include that because I hadn't done that yet in my Waylon set. So, like I say, I think we've completed the Waylon set. So these three shows would be a complete show for my playlist. What I need to do is sit down and write them all down, and then and I had to do "Driving My Life Away." I didn't do it justice. My voice is not quite where I want it to be. It's like a muscle. I'm still exercising it. But Bobby Germany always sang that song. I never sang that song one time with the Branders. That was just his song. So he didn't say a word, but I've known Bobby a long time, and when he wanted me to kick off "Driving My Life Away," his signal was. So I knew that meant. So that's what I would do, and I just played rhythm on that song. I never sang it, and he always had a Vince Gill high tenor voice. He could sing beautiful harmony. He sings those higher songs, that high lonesome sound that only Bobby could do. And so anyway, I had to do "Driving My Life Away." After that, again, I followed the guitar, and it took me to "Slow Rolling Low." It's just a song that's fun to pick. So I followed the guitar, and it led me to "Slow Rolling Low." And I'll go back and polish these songs out, work on the words a little better. But for now, I was really trying to fulfill set list C, how many songs I could do, how long I could sing before I blew my voice out. And well, I found out in this set when I blew my voice out, and it was in "You Can Have Her." We did used to sing that with the Branders probably every night. It was one of the last songs we did, and there were people in there, locals, that they didn't really know the name of the song. I think they referred to it as the Paul and Kim song. They knew what they wanted to hear, and I knew what they meant. So, I mean, we're going to do it anyway. So why not do it when they ask for it? You can have her. So it's just a good, almost a religious experience, because Bobby again would come in on the harmony and do the background vocals on that one, and it was just a really fun song to do. You can have her. And then to close it out, a good old waltz. That's a Billy Joe Shaver song, "Ride Me Down Easy." And I had to do a shout out to Tim Webb because we did, the more inebriated we would become, we would always go back to the classics, the ones that made us flip that switch. A guitar ago, there's something about that line. It's like, I don't know exactly how long a guitar ago is, but I've got my dad's Telecaster from 1971. This is 2024. So a guitar ago, that's a hell of a long time. It's been a guitar ago, a good month of Sundays. So yeah, we closed it out with "Ride Me Down Easy." I mean, I like to go for quality instead of quantity. I could probably sit down with my acoustic and do 3 or 4 more songs, but I was spent after that. I'll be honest, because I was putting everything I had into it. So I always want to give people a good show, and that's what they want. They don't want to hear all this talking. This is just kind of a after show wrap up, and just I want to thank everyone for watching and let you know that we'll be back in the new year with new set list, new material, better equipment, maybe even a collaboration, a guest singer, a guest picker. Call me, and we'll put something together. We'll get it on the books, and man, we'll make it happen. That's the beauty of the streaming and YouTube. I mean, you don't have to book a hall. You don't have to You don't have to coordinate too much. You just have to turn on the camera and plug in and play. And that's always been my motto. Show up on time, do the job you're paid to do, plug in and play, and shut the hell up. I mean, that would be my advice. But no, I'm an easygoing guy, really and truly. So it's all about the music. As long as you're having a good time and you do what you love to do, then you've already won. So good night, everybody. Getting tired of waking up sick and tired. As of today, there's gonna be some changes made. Can't steal for you messing around. Every way you talk, you let the talk of the town. It's high time you quit going that way. Not everybody. Sorry I was so long winded, but I wanted to thank everybody and just kind of give a little follow up, talk about the songs I did, and we'll see you in the new year. Love y'all. Good night. Keep listening.